And make no deposits, pay no interest, and make no payments for 1 full year. Nationwide also gives you a free bonus bed frame, plus free delivery and free removal of your old bedding, too. Now, how do you make your dreams come true? Nationwide Discount Sleep Centers.
We know your little secret, how you indulge in all those luscious flavors and still look so delicious. It's Nestle's Sweet Success. So easy to lose weight. So easy to lose it all and have it all at the same time.
The drawing for the Pennsylvania Lottery tonight before Jeopardy.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Cecily Tynan, Rick Williams, and Monica Malpass.
Good afternoon. In the news, Delaware officials are investigating a possible case of sex abuse at a daycare center.
Louis Capano takes the stand again against his brother Tom in the case of Anne Marie Fahey's murder. And it is a daring helicopter rescue as raging floodwaters sweep away a girl during storms in California.
But the big story on Action News this noon is the slow approach of a big nor'easter. The Jersey and Delaware shores are bracing for a beating from this slow-moving monster of a storm. The folks who live along Virginia Beach got a taste of the storm this morning. The surf kicked up and the winds howled for hours. Driving rain and sleet have been added to the mix in Ocean City, Maryland, closer to our area. And inland, where temperatures were colder, the storm dumped several inches of snow in some areas, including here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Farther south, they are still trying to clean up from some of the damage created by the high winds. Near Fort Lauderdale, Florida, some private planes were flipped by the gusts yesterday. The big storm tore the roof of an apartment building in Miami Springs and damaged hundreds of homes. All in all, this storm has already shown it packs a punch. And the nor'easter is bearing down on the Delaware and Jersey shore at this hour. The action cam is live along the shore in Longport. As you can see, the waves are churning. And as we are about to hear from Cecily Tynan later, it will turn rocky and will become messy later into the day. We will have the latest from the shore in a series of live reports in just a moment. But first, for the latest on tracking the storm, let's go outside to Cecily Tynan for the exclusive AccuWeather details. Cecily.
Well, Rick, right now it's not too bad out here, but don't breathe a sigh of relief just yet. We have not escaped the wrath of the storm. We've merely delayed it. The action cam taking a look in North Wildwood, where the surf is beginning to kick up and is going to be intensifying as the day wears on. The storm system itself is still well down to the south. It's just off the coast of Charleston, South Carolina. Show you on Satellite 6 what we're talking about, and this is a massive storm. The size of the storm, if you remember the blizzard of 93 in March 5 years ago, it's about that big. Action radar showing that we're beginning to see some of the precipitation. All the stuff has been relatively light. The really heavy bands of rain are down through the south, and showing you the mix. There is some snow associated with this. We've actually seen some sleet here and there this morning. There's a thin layer of cold air in the upper atmosphere, and we can't rule out the possibility of a little bit of frozen stuff. The problem with this storm is it is a slow mover. Look at this. By tomorrow, about the same time, it's still going to be off the coast of North Carolina, very slowly moving northeast from there, and by tomorrow night, things should be settling down. Until then, though, we do expect some major problems at the shore, especially tonight and the early morning hours. There's a high wind warning in effect for the New Jersey and Delaware shores. We're looking at northeasterly winds sustained at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Gusts could be approaching 60 miles per hour, and that's going to cause flooding. Severe flooding could be expected at the shore. Essentially through tomorrow, tides 2 to 4.5 feet above normal. Also, interior South Jersey is under a flood watch. We expect the rain to be intensifying tonight. We could see a little bit of frozen stuff, and we will talk all about that for you, tell you also when things are finally going to clear, coming up in the AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Monica?
All right, thank you, Cecily. Now we do have 2 live reports from the Jersey Shore where folks are preparing for their second major storm in a week, as she mentioned. Action News New Jersey correspondent Lisa Quintana is in Longport, New Jersey, while Kathy Gandolfo is in North Wildwood. And let's begin first with Lisa Quintana. Lisa?
Monica, we are already beginning to feel the effects of the storm. High tide is still an hour and a half away, and as you can see, the waves are already beginning to crash against the bulkhead. Last summer, the beach here extended at least 50 yards out, but as you can see right now, the beach is
WeatherScope.
A huge, slow-moving winter storm is disrupting much of the east today with high winds, snow, and heavy rain. In parts of Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee, heavy snow has closed schools and stalled traffic, while flooding is a major concern along the seaboard. Good afternoon, I'm Janetta Jones. Welcome to WeatherScope. We've got special coverage for you, including a crew on location in Virginia. With all the details, here's Rich Johnson in our forecast center.
Well, thank you very much, Janetta. A couple weeks, a couple big nor'easters, and this time around it's been the mid-Atlantic variety. Today we continue to follow another snowstorm. This time it's farther to the west, actually, where the heaviest of the snow. There has been heavy snow in the Appalachians, but also on the west side. And like last week's storm, today we find coastal flooding a big problem. We'll detail that. First of all, the marine warning's out all along the east coast, rounding Florida back down toward the Mississippi River. With those gales blowing out there, in some case storm warnings out there, we are finding heavy surf advisories from Fenwick Island all the way down to the North Carolina-Virginia border, and coastal flood warnings out. I can tell you, for an example, on eastern North Carolina, the Pamlico River, that there's some flooding all the way back through this area. So we are looking at some of the tides coming up as we approach high tide. That is where the problem rests. The satellite picture showing where the storm is, actually the center of the low is somewhere in through here, and we're seeing that counterclockwise flow. So essentially what we have coming in over toward the mid-Atlantic is a very strong northeast wind here, east-northeast. So anywhere from around 40 to as high as 60 mile per hour wind gust right up and through this area, the mouth of the Chesapeake. And speaking about the conditions along the mid-Atlantic coast, we have our team, Mike Seidel, in Virginia Beach. Mike, what's going on there at Virginia Beach?
And Rich, we've got the wind continuing, gusting over 50 miles an hour, heavy rainfall, and very dangerous surf conditions, and that will continue through tonight into tomorrow. We don't expect this storm to pull on through until later tomorrow. The winds will subside finally on Friday. Check out the Weather Channel Mass Cam, give you an idea of the very rough surf this morning and now into the early part of this Wednesday afternoon. And the seas are running about 6 to 8 feet coming down through the pier. This is the Virginia Beach Fishing Pier. And as you can see, if you at the tail end, you may have just seen at the tops of these waves, the crest of the wave is actually almost up to the bottom of the pier. Very low visibility looking southeast, and the surf continues to eat away at the very precious sand. That has been a big problem last week and again this week, all up and down the coast. The sand that we enjoy in the summertime is getting eaten away by beach erosion, and that's always the problem with an east and northeast wind. We'll see that continue. Also, the risk of localized flooding. Many intersections in the Tidewater area, the Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area, are flooded out because of very heavy rains. Those are continuing, and we will keep you posted from our position here on the boardwalk in Virginia Beach. Again, the worst continuing right on through tonight and tomorrow. Better weather, though, by Friday. Back to you, Rich.
All right, thank you, Mike, for that report, and we'll be checking back in, especially as high tide approaches. Mike Seidel again in Virginia Beach. Well, joining us now out of Tennessee is Cecil Whaley. He is with Emergency Management out of Nashville, Tennessee. Mr. Whaley, can you summarize what's going on in Putnam County with problems with travel?
Well, we have a backup of about 300 vehicles on a 12-mile section of I-40 in between Monterey and Cookeville in middle Tennessee, eastern middle Tennessee area, and we're fighting desperately with the conditions, about 12, 14 inches of snow, and we've got the National Guard, Highway Patrol, and everybody that we can possibly lay our hands on trying to get out there and help those folks.
Mr. Whaley, can you briefly tell us, are there any other parts of Tennessee which are experiencing problems with travel?
We're in pretty good shape in the rest of Tennessee in travel, although there are some very slick spots on I-75 between Chattanooga and Knoxville. It's kind of slow going there. Many of the roads in upper East Tennessee are very slow going through the park area there in the eastern Tennessee area.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Whaley. Again, Cecil Whaley with Emergency Management out of Nashville, Tennessee. Well, as we check the latest conditions across the mid-Atlantic, we have the storm to the south, and once again, like last week, temperatures in the big cities in the upper 30s and low 40s. It is a cold, raw day, 11 to chill at D.C., 16 in New York. It feels like it should be snowing out there, but the rain is coming down. Lots of heavy rain out across the Delmarva, and as Mike Seidel was reporting out of the Virginia Beach area, it still is coming down. Although heavy rains falling around Charleston, farther to the west, out across Kentucky, heavy snow. Sometimes some sleet coming down pretty heavily, so there will be some totals more than a foot. Unofficial reports of about that now. Into the southeast, here's the center of our low. A bit of snow still falling across eastern Tennessee and northwest Georgia. Temperatures are into the 30s as far south of Atlanta, with a very cold wind chill of 11 degrees. The latest radar picture continues to show the rain being wrapped back around with snow in the higher elevations of the mountains. Again, we will be starting special coverage at 1:50, where we'll continue to cover this mid-Atlantic storm, the second in 2 weeks. Well, if you're going to be away from the TV, you want more information, and you have a computer, you can check it out at weather.com. Now, with more about what's going on in the rest of the country, let's head back to the studio.
Thanks, Rich. You're seeing rain and mountain snow in parts of the southwest today from a storm that clobbered California with high winds and very heavy rain and even mountain snow yesterday.